Hello, everyone. This is Rick with the Cyber Pro podcast. Industry leaders share their insights. It's about 5 questions in 9 minutes because hackers never sleep. Let's get to it. Michael, tell us who you are and what do you do?
I'm Mike Saylor. I'm the CEO for Black Swan Cybersecurity. I'm also a professor, educator. I also do a lot of work out of the community with law enforcement and students.
Nice. What got you into cybersecurity and why do you love being a cybersecurity professional?
Well, I'm a problem solver, I think, by nature. I grew up son of a Master Chief, Navy CB, construction engineer. So just watching him solve problems every day, ingenuity kind of drove me to wanting to solve problems. And then growing up, taking everything apart and figuring out how to put it back together, which also got me in a lot of trouble. But professionally, I was introduced to kind of the world of cyber and crime and espionage and terrorism through some work, did some intelligence work early on, and then into kind of computer hardware, and then just natural evolution from, building stuff and collecting data to figuring out how all that stuff is used for nefarious purposes. And then, how do we then educate and help build solutions to protect stuff? And then also along the way, just being very entrepreneurial, not always finding the right fit for me. So I've actually started 6 companies over the last 30 years. Black Swan's one of those. And then just trying to find like-minded people that want to help and protect and educate and collaborate. And that's what got me here.
That's awesome. I'm going to throw in a softball bonus question here. 6 companies, were they all cybersecurity? And whether they were or weren't, what makes somebody want to follow an entrepreneurial path?
Well, I think it's a couple things. One, no, they weren't all cyber. They were all technical though. No, I take that back. My very first company was a landscaping company. We cut down trees and cleared log jams out of creeks for the city, that kind of stuff. But my first IT company was consulting. I taught organizations how to use Microsoft Office when it first came out, how to do spreadsheets, and also clean keyboards. But then my next company was a retail wholesale computer hardware company where we sold retail out the front, custom built computers, laptops, and then wholesale out the back to other computer companies or organizations that needed bulk stuff. And then I started a nonprofit, which I still run today, cyber education focused. How do we get students, high school and college, the hands-on education or hands-on opportunities to complement their education to help them get that first job. And then the other companies were cyber related. As far as entrepreneurial, there's a couple of things there. One, it's hard to start your own company without having the security of a full-time job or a steady paycheck. So there's a lot of risk there. And definitely, I was pretty risk averse early in life, not knowing how to pay my bills and get what I want and go out to eat or buy the food I want. But, you develop a kind of a reputation and some confidence in yourself, so that people want to work with you. And so starting a business and having at least a small handful of people that want to work with you that like what you do made it easier for me. And then seeing both sides, the corporate world, which I've got a ton of war stories on corporate world stuff too. But then the bureaucracy, the red tape, the politics, if nothing else drove me to be an entrepreneur, it was getting away from all that. But then also being able to build your own culture and build an organization full of people that are like-minded, that want to share, in my case, at least. We're all educators. We all build each other up. We're all leaders. We all take that kind of, servant leadership is a term that you hear a lot. And we're all there for each other, our clients, and really anybody that wants to learn or needs help. And so that's really what's kept that passion of entrepreneurial alive for me over at least the last probably 12 years, is having an environment like that where you can go to work and be around kind of like family almost. And then your clients also kind of, I don't know that they all do, but they know that they're comfortable calling and asking for help or asking questions, and they know that we're there for them when they do.
That's awesome. Thank you for that, Michael. we hear the term cybersecurity is a top concern, but what does that mean to you?
Well, one of the things that I've been kind of preaching lately is that cyber is not just an IT problem. Cyber is a thin film that covers everything a business does. It's your people, it's your building, it's your relationships with others, your vendors, your clients. Every aspect of your organizational life has a cyber weakness. And so cyber is not just physical security. It's not just the technology you buy. It's not how you do your business, how things are connected. It's all of these things. And so cyber to me is really getting having an understanding, and some of that requires some education and different way of thinking. But cyber is the ability to utilize technology on the good side. How you utilize technology to protect yourself, but also how to do business more efficiently and effectively with good accountability, good security, good integrity. Trust is a big thing. I was at a conference yesterday. They were talking about digital trust. And that's really an evolution that I've spoken to a lot as well. We're not really there yet as a society where, if someone broke into your house and you came home, you'd have that, that awful feeling in the gut of your stomach that your privacy's been violated and someone's been in your house. But if someone steals your computer or your phone, we're not quite there yet, feeling the same way, not realizing that the exact same stuff that's in your house, all that privacy, all that personal, it's also in your phone. In fact, probably more so, because your house doesn't know where you just came from and how you spent your day, but your phone does. And so I think we're still there as far as evolving to really embrace that trust in these devices that we've given. But cyber is a component of that. And on the bad side, obviously, cyber is how threat actors and bad guys are really trying to take advantage of every single little, kink in the armor and weakest link type of analogy to get something of value from us. Even if it's not directly, something of yours, maybe that piece of what you have fits into pieces of what other people have, and that value adds up, the 1,000 grains of sand type of thing. And so, yeah, it's a different way of thinking, and we're not there yet, but cyber definitely is a thin film that covers everything.
Oh, that's a great way to put it. What other insights do you want to share with our network of cyber professionals?
Well, I think, and I see this both from a lot of different perspectives. So, I mentioned I'm an educator. I've been a college professor for 24 years. And so people that take an interest in cyber or want a career in cyber, whether they're a student or a professional that wants to change careers, there's a lot of uncertainty there. Like, what does that mean? I want a career in cyber. That's like saying I want to be a doctor. All right, so what kind of doctor? I don't know. I just see them on TV. They make a lot of money, drive nice cars. Well, cyber is somewhat similar. I want to be a hacker because I've seen hackers, or I want to work for CSI and do forensics, and those are really the only couple of things that you see, or law enforcement, that people can relate to when they talk about cyber. And so find a good mentor. Go to some of these cyber social events. There's tons all over the place. North Texas has a huge cyber community, and there's even a Twitter handle. I think it's DFW Cyber, and they post all these events you can go to. A lot of them are free. And it's a very collaborative industry. They want to help you. They want to answer your questions. They want to give you a path. And that's really important, because if you don't have a path, you'll end up investing a lot of time and money in a career that really may not even fit you. Like, so I get a lot of, I want to be a hacker. Okay, so let's talk about what it's like to be a hacker. It's poor life balance. It's a 5-year, at least a 5-year path to becoming recognized as an expert pen tester. And your first couple of jobs are not, Hollywood style things. You're doing research, you're doing the low level stuff, or working with someone if you have the opportunity to get a mentor, and you're working. You have to be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And when you really get into a pen test, you probably won't sleep for 3 days because you don't want to stop. And you're drinking energy drinks and eating bad food. And so, if you're health conscious, at a minimum, health conscious, and you have a family, pen testing is not the life for you. Well, similarly, like forensics. Well, forensics is interesting too. And I think to that point, I think maybe there's a misconception too that a lot of cybersecurity is just pushing buttons on tools and they do all the work for you. And we get a lot of students that are good at the technical stuff, but then they don't want to write the report. Well, the report's the most valuable thing. You got a lot, you had a lot of fun doing the pen test, but where's the value for the client or your company? It's in the report. So if you don't want to write the report, then you can't be a pen tester. So there's a lot of documentation and procedure and stuff like that people have to follow. And so with regard to cyber and the workforce, it's not a push button job. It's not a point in time career where you finished your degree or you finished that certification or that training and you think you're done. No, tomorrow's another day. There's more stuff to learn tomorrow and you can't stop learning. You have to keep learning. Find a mentor, get involved with groups, develop a career path. Even if you're in cyber today, don't be stagnant. Look for how do I grow? What can I do tomorrow? What other things can what I know contribute to make me a more multidimensional resource to others? And I harp on this a lot. I'm actually writing my dissertation for my doctoral program on how do we solve the cyber workforce problem. There's not enough people. I think that's a misconception. There's a ton of people. There's a ton of people that went to school. They have certs. They just don't have the experience. Well, where do I get the experience? Well, what do you want to do? So there's all these unknown questions that haven't been somewhat delineated, but also there's not a standardization type structure in place for that career progression, that roadmap, that career path. So figure that out and help the next generation. So if you're in cyber today, go find someone to mentor, speak at an event, volunteer at a school, be on the advisory board of a community college, figure out a way to help the next generation get the experience and the path, so that they can backfill us or help us, so that we're not the one cyber person at the company that's working 20 hours a day because they can't find enough good people.
Oh, that's awesome. And we'll have to nerd out, Michael, about dissertations. I'm on my PhD path and on servant leadership, because it's something that I was brought up with as well. So I appreciate you taking time to talk about both of those. Here's the fun question for you. Favorite piece of retro technology that just makes you smile?
Retro tech. Man, there's so many that come to mind. The old plasma balls that you can touch and then light up your fingers. I love those things. Man, the other thing that comes to mind is the Atari. I gotta have an Atari. And the one button and joystick that pops out of place every time you get too aggressive in your game. I think if I could invent something today, it would be a throwback to the Atari with a more rigid and robust joystick that doesn't break. But those are the two that come to mind.
Michael, thank you so much for being on the Cyber Pro podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching the Cyber Pro podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on new podcasts and bonus content.